talk about Jim Cornette now. He obviously is a man of many opinions, and his opinion this week, he was talking about, contracts in AEW and what's coming up. And he was asked a question about Jericho and if he left AEW, and he said, "Would losing Jericho and the Bucks hurt AEW? I don't see how. The people are going to come. The people are going to come that like AEW regardless of who's in the card because they like AEW. It's like an ECW thing. But no, the match quality would go drastically up if we didn't have to see the Hardley Boys all the time. And Jericho, we wouldn't have to see him latching onto the guys that can still go and trying to sap all of the interest off of them. That would make a better show as well if they if they lost Danielson, they lost Punk, it would hurt. Jericho and the Hardley Boys, So Finn, I mean, what's your take? Because Jericho's contract is going to be up fairly soon. Do you think that if Jericho was to explore other options, would it affect AEW in a big way, positively or negatively, do you think?
No, I don't think it would affect it at all. I mean, he's had his run. I mean, he's been champion. He was part of a faction, done tag teams. He's done the big heel run. He's done the big face run. I mean, what really is there left for him to do in AEW? I mean, I can't really think of anything that would be that meaningful or constructive or would really, cause some sort of sea change to occur in AEW. As Jim Cornette said, he's just there really hanging around with the younger guys and they're doing most of the work in the matches. He don't really have a whole lot more to offer, I don't think. And Jericho was always a guy when he was in WWE who was smart, who realised when it was his time to step off because he'd outstayed his welcome and that he'd done all he was going to do on that run, and it would have been it would have been prudent for him to leave and then come back in 6 months, 9 months, a year, or whatever. I mean, he could do that in AEW if he was that way inclined. He could step off AEW for 3 months or 6 months and maybe come back sort of next spring, next summer, next autumn. And I think he could have another run then. I think he would probably have to reinvent himself, come up with a new character. But that's not something that he would be averse to doing, Kenny. He's done that many times before. Yeah. And I'm sure he would be willing to do that again. Maybe he could, change his physique slightly when he returned. That would be advantageous for him. But yeah, it feels to me like AEW has phased him down, and it feels like they're about to phase him out. I mean, most recently he was doing stuff with 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, which is like opening match role. Surely a guy like Jericho with the ego that Jericho has, he must recognize where he sits on the totem pole and that it is time for him to leave and either come back next year or go elsewhere. What do you think, Kenny?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jericho's in an interesting spot because if he did leave, I don't think it would hurt AEW because they would be able to. They've got so many other talent; they can do so much more stuff. I think that for Jericho, the one upside to AEW is he's got a lot more leniency to do what he wants. He's away now touring with Fozzy in the UK. He can commentate if he wants to. Unfortunately, he's got a lot of things that he can do in AEW. Whereas if he went to WWE, I mean, he would get the initial pop, but I mean, look, I wouldn't put it past Jericho to go and do a 6-month run in WWE and come back to AEW. It wouldn't surprise me if he did do that. I do actually want to bring up the Bearded Baron on our chat was talking about how losing the Young Bucks would be a huge blow. He was talking about how he's really enjoyed the Bucks matches. And even though we're not massive Young Bucks match fans, Finn, I do think if they lost the Young Bucks, that would be a bit of a blow to them because they really feel like AEW originals. AEW people, they're the EVPs. They help, they help bring in a lot of the audience for AEW. So as much as they're maybe not for me sometimes, I do think that it would be a much bigger blow for AEW to not have the Young Bucks than Jericho.
Well, I mean, the Young Bucks have just re-signed with the company for another 2 years. So we know that they are not leaving until January 2024. So
you say that with so much happiness, Finn.
I mean, the Young Bucks, aka the Thieves of Joy. I mean, it's just, to me, listen, I'm not going to talk about the Young Bucks anymore. If people enjoy watching the Young Bucks matches, good for them. Let's move on to something else, Kenny. I don't want to spend any more time talking about those two guys.
Well, actually, Rocky, just to give a balance to the opinion, we've got the Bearded Baron who loves the Buck matches. Then we've got Rocky Kingston said if the Bucks left AEW, he'd be more inclined to watch more. So it's I guess it's a balance.